Welcome to Faith, Reason, and Geekdom. I'm Roger.
And I'm Dusty.
My brothers and sisters in Christ join us every Thursday as we work out these perspectives in our everyday lives. Comic-Con 2022, the Super Bowl, some would say. This is the Super Bowl of Geekdom. What say you?
I think so. I think you're right. And this year was quite an unveiling of quite a few amazing revelations and news and
surprises,
food for the geeks out there. So yeah, this was a very, very big thing. Starting, I think, with Marvel that unveiled their multiverse saga. What else have you got? You got to walk us through some of this?
Yeah, there's so much stuff. This is a multi-day function. And actually, just back after a few years because of the COVID pandemic, they hadn't had a Comic-Con in a few years. So this is the first time fully. They had a little one, small one. They had the online one. But this is the first time in person, San Diego. I've actually never been. So I kind of want to say before we get into this, have you ever been to Comic-Con? Because you're lived in California.
My friend Todd, who lives in San Diego, invited me and my kids a couple of years ago, at least because, like you said, it's been shut down due to the pandemic. And because of my schedule and other things that were going on, we weren't able to go. But he had us all set up, man. He had tickets for us. And I know Todd's a listener to our podcast. So I just want to give him a shout out. I was watching.
Todd, I will take those tickets, Todd. If you're listening, I will sacrifice for the sake of Faith, Reason, and Geekdom podcast.
He's a great guy, great Catholic also. And Todd was posting stuff, the whole time he was there. Because of course he goes multi-days. He gets a multi-day pass. So he's one of the best guys in my life. I love him, and he invited me. I thank you for that, Todd. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to take advantage of it, but I'm so jealous as I'm watching your post this year and just knowing that this was one of the biggest Comic Cons we've seen so far, and the endless amounts of talk and theories and all kinds of discussions about all the different projects that are coming out that are on the way. So it's really fun.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, we had Avengers news. We've had celebrities come out, almost the whole cast of people coming out, new revelations of trailers, sneak peeks that we didn't get seen. Some of them got leaked. But this overall was great. And I think I want to start with a little bit of television from the television side. Walking Dead. I don't know if you've seen that's like a love and hate. Some people are like, people still watch that. And actually, I don't hate The Walking Dead.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make me vomit when I see it. Like, some people are like, I'm tired of it. Some people are sick of The Walking Dead and they're glad it's over, but finally the final end is coming. Did you watch Walking Dead, and what do you think about The Walking Dead being a final season?
I have to admit that I only watched a few episodes of the original first season one. And this is one of these things that when I retire, I'm going to watch the whole thing. I'm not a big fan of zombies to begin with. There's a few exceptions to that. But as I understand it, there is quite a bit of buzz regarding this particular scenario, that this is like finally the end of the saga. I know that it was based, if I remember correctly, on a comic book series, right?
Yes, and Robert Kirkland.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm wondering if the comic book ending is somehow going to end up the same way. For some reason in my mind, I have
that. I don't want no happy note.
Okay. All right. So I won't say anything else, but we're talking about like back in 2020.
There's a bunch of different spinoffs and stuff, but also too, and again, I can cut things out and stuff like that if I go too far, but I want to probe, see how much you can go. Speaking of comic books and television, it's right up your alley. Now we've talked about it once on the podcast. Now you work with a comic book company, correct?
I work right now with one of the largest comic book universe companies. And I have to be very careful because, like I said, I'm under non-disclosure. We don't want to telegraph what's coming, but
I
there
was because I
is
was gonna ask you Comic Con.
a
Like there
slew
has
of
tell me
content.
what's going on.
Well,
What you can get away with. What can you get away with about the presence at Comic Con as far as you can?
The group that I work with, which is one of many projects that I'm involved with as a producer and as a Wall Street guy, the finance world, etc. A lot of the stuff that's going on right now is behind the scenes for this particular company.
And you're talking about
It's
the
very
movies,
exciting.
right? Because I know the comic book side, guaranteed they're there, but you're talking about the
Yes,
movie side. Okay, correct.
I'm
Just to
talking about
clarify.
on the content for television, for movies, for series, for animation, and I mean, look, there's so much changing in the entertainment world that people don't see coming, but I can point you to all kinds of immersive new entertainment items that are going to be on the menu that are going to make so much money and that are going to be so revolutionary. Uh, the only thing I can say is it's like when the World Wide Web came along and
Oh,
changed
that's pretty big.
everything. I can also point to you that, for example, when AT&T purchased um, a big motion picture
Warner
behemoth
Brothers. Yeah.
like Warner Brothers, that should call your attention to something. There's something
Yeah.
cooking, there's something going on that probably involves a telephone business like 5G,
Yeah.
that whole universe that's being built, that's going to be a bandwidth of a very big pipe of
It's gonna give us all cancer. No, I don't know. That's a don't
that's
put
an
a notification of fake news.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing in and of itself.
Conspiracy.
There's a conspiracy, right, that the Russians are telling everyone. As you can see, such a drug for people. Everyone runs away from our world into these
Yeah,
new, these new pretend universes and worlds of the past and of the future, and so it's kind of exciting to be involved with all that. But yeah, I can't really talk too much about it. All I can tell you is that there is a slew of possibilities in regards to content in television, in movies, and in animation, and some of these new immersive entertainment technologies that are being planned.
Okay, so yeah, so as far as content, movies, television, stuff like that, they didn't have a big super presence, but they did have a presence on the comic book side. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
kind of curious about like all the stuff that happened. Definitely panels, for sure, panels of comic books, definitely different merchandise for sale, comic books obviously for sale. They had probably a big imprint on the more of the comic book side, but that's great to know though. I'm excited and scared at the same time. Like when you're describing it, you're like, Merce, we're gonna run away from reality and go into the virtual, and you're like, and I'm excited about that. I was like, well, I'm also scared about that too.
Well,
that's
there's some really
like,
cool stuff too that is going to allow you to enjoy entertainment in a different way than you've been able to.
Yeah, that scares me.
well, for example, let's say a concert, right? Like there's a concert going on at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses, let's just say,
or U2, or somebody big, right? You're going to be able to attend that concert, not only yourself but with your friend, and it's going to allow you and your entertainment dollar another choice, which there will be many. So all of this, is exciting and it's cool. And in a world where we have pandemics and all kinds of new stuff going on, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, great! Now, Zoom 24/7 hours. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. No,
yeah.
Let me ask you this: Tolkien, are you a fan or no? Do you hate him or do you like him?
I'm not a big fan, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, there are certain.
We lost a lot of audience right now. We just lost a bunch of people. Lord of the Ring fans, they're tuning out right now.
Yeah, well, there's certainly, when I was in high school, a lot of people were reading the Tolkien books, right? And they're huge masses, and everyone's taking them in. When the movies came out later, I found myself a little bit bored, to be honest. It's not my speed. I like more action. I like a lot more quick moving developments. So I'm not a real big fan of Token, but I know a lot of people are. What's your take right now as far as what's going on
Well,
with this news?
Well, Amazon, it's the most expensive show on television. Amazon had gotten the rights to Lord of the Rings and they released a trailer. So it had a big presence at Comic-Con. So people got to see the trailer. They enjoyed it. Now, me personally, I don't know how good it looks good, by the way.
Oh,
Like the production,
very well produced. Yeah.
you can tell they threw money behind it. You can tell. On that front, I'm excited. But as far as I don't Tolkien is very Catholic, was
Yes, of
best
course.
friends with C.S. Lewis. They had the Inklings,
Yes.
the group. Imagine that group, that it's 3 or 4 or 5 of them. They would meet up and talk. And Tolkien actually helped C.S. Lewis convert to Christianity after being an agnostic or atheist for so long. So the Catholicism in Lord of the Rings is present. It doesn't bang you over the head. This isn't pure flex, okay? Like it's not just knocking you over the head. Like I get it. All right, Jesus loves me. I get it. But it's in there. The Catholicism is in Tolkien. You have the ring, the corruption of the evil, the power, how it corrupts, how, our preternatural or our concupiscence leaning towards sin, or our desire to power, our desire for our capability to evil. It's in there. And I'm afraid that not just from the trailer, but also from what I've heard and, things about, oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're doing that. Amazon's going to put more of this in there. I don't think you're going to get that even from the movies. I think you're going to get less even from I believe.
mean,
I hope I'm wrong.
The cinematic world that Peter Jackson created with the original, movies
Oscar winning
was so immense and so big and it shifted,
won the most Oscars, right? If I'm not correct, I think the Lord of the Rings franchise in history.
The world is going to be very diverse. It's going to not only in its storylines, but in its thoughts and its races and all kinds of stuff, right? So, but people, I'm taking it the diverse mix is not falling well for people, or what?
Well, there's some people that are saying it's like, well, why do they're orcs or they're elves or all this stuff like that? Again, I know they call them different things because of they're hardcore. Like, wait, they're not called elves; they're called this and all.
Yes.
Again, I like Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, but I'm not a huge immersive. I know the canon and all the words, so like I don't want to. I'm afraid that they'll come at me with the pitchforks. But they're like, well, what does it mean? They're creatures. Why do you need? We're gonna.
Well, these are all different races, though, that are coming together to defeat
I don't know,
a common enemy. No,
yes.
I mean, this is not the same sort of thread that existed in the originals. Why is it so? Why is this popping up? Like, why are people so torn about this? I don't understand it.
And I think too, it's not just that. Like that's part of it. Well, because Amazon, Jeff Bezos, like they have a certain agenda for sure, and they're using that platform and they're doing it not like natural, like, hey, instead of announcing it, we're gonna do it for its sake. I think people want diversity and inclusion if it fits the story and it's just natural. And I think people have they kind of shy away or they pull away when it's a big huge tech oligarchy like Amazon, one of the biggest things, saying, hey, we're going to do this on, like, we're going to force it. We're going to do this, announcing it, where they're like, hey, how about just do it? Almost like the Oscars, I think a few years ago, they had literally put, like, if you want to qualify to win an Oscar, you must have certain amount, like they literally mandated, and everyone was like, that's kind of weird. So now you kind of shoehorn it in. I don't know. Again, that's not my big hang up. That's not one of mine. At least I understand both sides, but that's not my hang up. But also too is, again, our culture is antagonistic towards Christianity and particularly Catholicism. So I feel like the big wigs at Amazon are definitely gonna, even in the movie, have you seen the movie Tolkien? Like Tolkien, Catholicism is a huge part, and they literally just like mention it real quick. They literally shied away.
I guess the issue that people are having is that Prime Video and Amazon Studios will misalign and distort things, right? So
You hit it right on the
especially
head.
in the television series
You hit
itself.
it right on the head. I'm gonna
They're
watch it
going, okay,
for
okay, that's
sure.
good. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. It's entertainment, right?
You know what's another show that I'm gonna watch? Well, at first when I heard, I was like, why are they doing the She-Hulk? And then I saw the
Oh,
trailer, and they got
okay.
a new trailer, a new one with the excellent ending. What do you
Uh,
know about the character, of anything? And what did you see when you first saw the trailer? And did you see the new Comic Con, which I think is better than the original trailer? What did you think?
well, first of all, we're talking about a 30-something-year-old female
Yeah,
who is an attorney, which is
yeah,
funny in and of itself, right? Who also happens to be a 6'7" Hulk, right? Boy, talk about turning things on its head, and yet it sounds interesting. And here's what I like about it. The company that I'm working with has, you this is sort of throwing back a few sentences ago when you said, if you want to win an Oscar, you have all these things. I think what Hollywood was trying to do was to be more inclusive and to bring more diversity. And I didn't like the way they went about it. I thought it was kind of politicized, and certainly I don't know if it has excluded a lot of content and really good movies. I mean, we saw
yeah.
who was the winner of the Oscar last year, the movie that was about the deaf community.
Yes.
And it was a very good
What was it
movie.
called? Kobe
Um,
or Coda? Coda.
Coda,
There you
Coda.
go.
Yes, exactly. So, is it working? Possibly. That was a very enjoyable movie. Very well made. Now we're starting to see more and more of these comic book companies and universes try to be more inclusive. Look at the way the people who are starring in these films look, how much they weigh. Do they look like your typical, comic book hero? Those
Yeah.
are those are interesting things. We're putting people on the screen that look like regular people, who are more females, more
Yeah.
minorities, more things. So I think that's actually good. When I was growing up as a young Latino, in San Antonio, Texas, I would look at television and I didn't see, or film, and I didn't see a lot of people who look like me. Did it affect me? No, it kind of probably inspired me to get more involved and to do and to change that, right?
That was a great. And to your point about saying now we're seeing different types of superheroes, we're seeing some with different body types, different, female or male, all this
Yeah.
different stuff. I mean, some of them, even with Echo, I think she's hearing impaired. So that is true. And that's good for me too, because diversity, hey, I'm going to run on that wagon. I'm going to jump on that wagon. Hopefully maybe it'll help me out. Like, cause I think there's a need for like a mid-30s out of shape superhero Hispanic that maybe I can play that. Like come on, imagine how much fun. Yeah, no, imagine how much fun a male out of shape mid-30, let's say 35. Let's say
chasing you with
35.
a chancla.
Yes. Let's
Yeah.
say a 35-year-old. Hey, I'm 35. What you know? Hey, Hollywood, right there. There you go. So a superhero like that, like that's not all fit and everything. That it's not all like
No,
buff and
there is something in the works
I'm
like
waiting
that.
for something like
I
that.
can guarantee you.
Okay. I know what you're saying.
I've seen the script. It's good.
I
Yeah.
was talking about me, but then I forgot about that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, I know. I just got it right now. I was like,
So
oh wait,
going back to She-Hulk, that's going to be it's obviously a Marvel
9 episodes. Yes,
character, right? So
yes. Disney
Marvel
Plus.
is now part of Disney, and now Disney Plus will be releasing that. And that's another thing, because it is Disney, where Disney has always been on the forefront of inclusion, right?
Yes.
Of all these different subgroups of
And we're going to
people.
talk about that at the
So,
end a little bit.
okay,
That's
cool.
coming up. But
Yeah.
okay, so let's go into the movie side. Let's go into the movie side.
Okay.
John Wick 4, the trailer dropped. It's awesome because and Keanu Reeves, like in the trailer, what does he says? Like he's punching the punching bag and everything, and then they're like, "Are you ready?" or something. He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And it's like
Yeah,
the same Keanu, like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And he comes in and killing people and doing the fight sequences. Also, that one fight sequence where they're fighting close quarters, but they're trying to shoot each other, and they're literally like a feet or two away, and they're trying to punch and shoot each other.
that's
That's
creative. That's
pretty
very
cool.
creative. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's following in that John Wick isms of the first three movies. What did you think about the trailer? And if you didn't see the trailer, what do you think about the movies in general? Are you excited?
I one of the things that that was sort of a surreal experience for me. I mean, I literally was looking around at the audience instead of up at the screen when I was watching it. Was the third installment of this Keanu Reeves bloodthirsty revenge series, John Wick.
Vaya con Dios. Remember when he says that?
Exactly. This was I was at the premiere in Los Angeles and watching it at I think one of the one of the cineplexes, big, huge, theater with a huge screen and THX and everything else. And I'm looking around at the crowd, and the crowd is going nuts. It was so violent. What was going on screen, it was fun, but it was violent, right? And I was looking at how the crowd was reacting to this and just being blown away. I honestly felt for a minute like I was at the Roman Colosseum. There was blood and gore and
are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Exactly. As they were throwing down the punches on each other and stuff, and so Keanu Reeves has done an amazing job. I mean, the guy is in his 50s. He's got to be maybe even his late 50s by now. And he has just taken on this lethal persona and does such an amazing job with the fight sequences. And he is all in. And I know from a producing standpoint, what it takes to get the time and attention of a guy who is still one of the biggest draws in the box office in many regards, thanks to this franchise and of course to the Matrix franchise and so forth. But here he is again now, John Wick Chapter 4, revising his role as this hitman with a heart, and I think we're in for a good ride. By the way, I ended up kind of relaxing in my seat, just taking it all in and enjoying the ride. Found myself very immersed in the story and ended up liking John Wick 3. So I'm hoping that Chapter 4 is a good continuation of the 3 previous films.
Yes.
And maybe I'm hearing it might even be a little bit of a conclusion to it, because it takes a lot of energy and time for a guy like him.
Have you ever done any Have you ever done any how to be on set or anything with any action sequences like this, like where it's like hand-to-hand combat or shooting, something like that? How was that like? How's that? Is it obviously dangerous for the stunt people? How is that like?
Most of the films coming up that I've done have all been independents or smaller budgets. I've done some studio films when I was coming up learning about the business. I can tell you that it takes a multitude of people, of locations, of explosions, of very specialized people. Even the guys who handle the weapons are, as we saw with, unfortunately, what happened on the film last year,
the Western,
where the cinematographer with Alec Baldwin. Everyone has to stay in their own lane and be very good. The stunt teams, the stunt coordinators, the weapons advisors, everybody is very, very good at what they do. So it takes a tremendous amount of energy and effort. And what it's like on set is you're a fan. I mean, by the time it all comes together, all these different people with their different expertises and the actors and the directors and the cinematographer, and everybody plans exactly how it's going to come out. When the sequence plays out, let's say, or the sequences play out, you're a fan. You're off behind camera watching it or on the monitors, and you're like, yeah, that was cool, and this is going to look great even after we add more special effects, or, that was a nice explosion in person, but we're going to augment it, later in the editing room. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm amazed that people are invested to the level that they are. They know that what they're gonna. There's a term we use, pain is temporary, film is forever. And people put themselves through a lot of pain to capture that moment that's going to be, in an anticipated action flick sequence. So I'm amazed by that aspect of it, how people are so, no matter how big or small the film is, how they're so invested and they're willing to give up something special so that it gets captured on film. So, that's my take on that. And so when I watch a film like John Wick, even as violent as it is, I appreciate the work that goes into creating something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now
Yeah.
let's go to DC. DC had a
Okay.
present there, Warner Brothers, and they had their panel. They had the Shazam trailer, the first full trailer of Shazam,
Yeah.
and I liked it. The first movie, I also like. I don't love it. I didn't love it.
I was
The
going to say, how did
trailer,
you
I
feel
didn't
about the
love it.
first one?
Yeah, I liked it, but it's not one of my top ones. But I
Yeah.
did enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it. They had the hard director. You had Zachary Levi, who's I've been learning more about him. He seems like a really great guy. He's has a real big, big faith, and he just came out with a book, like a Christian
Really?
book. Yeah, recently, and he talked about his struggles with depression, anxiety, suicide, and all this stuff, and got help. And his faith. This is one of the guys who's like real big into his faith. He just did that American. I was gonna say American Me. that's a different movie. He's like, hey, don't look at me, puppet. Hey, puppet, don't look at no American Underdog. There you go, American Underdog. About the Kurt Warner story, and that is a faith-based one. But again, not knocking you over the head. You watch that movie, you wouldn't think that belongs in Pure Flex. It doesn't knock you over the head, but it is a faith-based movie. He played Kurt Warner, the football player from the Rams and all Super Bowl Arizona. So I've become a fan of Zachary Levi. So the trailer, Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu's in there. There's a lot of Greek mythology, which I love. I love the Greek
Oh, that's
mythology and all
right.
that. So I like that.
Okay.
But it
Okay.
definitely wasn't my favorite trailer of Comic-Con, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. Like I was like, yeah, that's all right. So that's my kind of like baseline on that.
Well, I go back to, man, this is going to date me, but back in the 70s, there was a television series, the original
Captain Marvel.
Shazam. No, the original Shazam TV series. And I think it used to even air like on Saturday mornings or something, but I was so invested in that. I loved it. I thought it was really, really great. So I was a little bit let down when I saw the first movie, the Shazam movie, and how sort of polished and comic booky it was. I don't
Except the
know.
horror
There was
part. There was
something.
a kind of I was like, whoa, this demon just bit the head off of. So I was kind of like, whoa, shocked by that.
Exactly, but I'm such a big fan of the original show, and I'm sitting there as a kid watching it or whatever, so I'm always going to be partial to that. But it's kind of weird. That sounds like me saying, hey, I love the original Batman TV show more than the movies.
Yeah.
But in this particular case,
bang, pow.
I just thought that yeah, I just thought the Shazam 1, the first movie that we saw, a couple years ago, was a little bit too polished for my taste. It was just too plastic, I guess, is the word that I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? It looked great. I loved the take. I loved the way it didn't necessarily, the hero didn't take himself seriously or whatever. And I love that about it. But I am hoping that this Fury of the Gods, which is the sequel, is going to be a little bit better. And like you said, that it has some cool elements that we didn't see in the first one. Again, at what point are people going to be sick of comic book heroes?
Never.
Maybe not. It's a thing. Like it's a real
Those
thing,
are
man. So all these new
now.
movies and spin-offs and shows that are drawing fans, at Comic-Con, which is the topic of our show today, is they're mega bucks. Not only are they expensive to produce, but they more than pay themselves off. That investment that's made by these cinematic universes, at Disney, at Marvel, at DC, etc. They more than make their money back. And not only that, but the interesting part about it from the business side of it now, as I'm looking at it, is that these things have a shelf life that runs for 20 or more years.
Definitely.
Okay, this content is long lasting, and you can monetize it in so many different ways. Not only with the with all the trinkets and toys and
make a podcast about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you can make a podcast about it. It's great.
About Geekdom.
You can really make exactly, and people love it. Like it's fun. And again, my only question is it too much of an escape from our world, and is that a bad thing? I don't know.
Staying on the DC, The Rock came out. Dwayne The Rock Johnson showed some Black Adam stuff. I'm excited for that movie, and it's going to be good. You have Pierce Brosnan in there as Dr. Fate. You had all these different characters. There's rumors that Henry Cavill Superman might come out.
I
There's rumors
heard.
there.
Yeah.
The ex-wife of Dwayne Johnson is also the manager of Dwayne Johnson and Henry Cavill. So a lot of people are speculating that he might. Yeah, they have the same manager. So
No, I know that. I was just surprised that you knew that. That's funny.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to happen. And I love The Rock. And The Rock, of course, he's not just going to come out. Hey, he came out in the full Black Adam suit with smoke. Like, if you see the footage, it's on YouTube. He's an entertainer because he came from that wrestling background, the WWE. And I can imagine, like, that sounds like a Mr. McMahon wrestling thing. Like, you can imagine Mr. McMahon coming out like, hey, pal, hey, Rock, I got an idea, Rock.
We're talking about violent, raging action. Just moments ago, when talking about John Wick, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a headline that Dwayne said that this Black Adam has the most raging and violent action he's ever done so far, and he's done a lot of stunt sequences and action and so forth. So this is going to be interesting to see what this very long in the works movie will finally look like from this DC Comics extended universe of superheroes. It's finally going to hit the screen, and of course he's doing a great job of pumping it up, man. His body count on screen has already surpassed so many other actors, but he's out there and he's like pumping this thing. So like you say, it reminds you of WWE,
Yeah, again, like I was gonna say, like Mr. McMahon, like, gosh darn it, pal, I got an idea. All right, Rock, look, you come out, Rock, right? And then AC/DC plays Black on Black. And then you turn off the lights, and then it's pitch black. And then you come out in a black limo, and then the sign says, Black Adam. Gosh darn it, pal. That's entertainment, pal. Gosh darn it.
It'll be interesting to see.
McMahon coming out doing that.
I'm watching all of this again with my eyes as a producer and somebody involved in the industry. Luckily, lucky enough to be involved in the industry since I was very young. So I'm watching to see, how do you get a PG-13 movie that is going to surpass the body count of John Wick, of the John Wick series.
I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know if it's going to do that, but
that's what they're trying to do. That's what I have heard, that the producers are pumping that and talking about. They're trying to attract that John Wick audience, man, to watch something like this, because they figure if we can attract that crowd and the comic book crowd to tune in. But I'm really curious how you end up with a PG-13 rating with something like that. If John Wick doesn't just rip off arms and fly them up in the air, bodies flying everywhere, but that's the comparison that I'm hearing in some regards when it comes to Dwayne Johnson and what he's going to do in this. So let's see.
For sure, man. I'm definitely excited to see that. Gosh darn it, pal, I got an idea. That's Mr. McMahon. I hear his voice constantly. But let's go to the main event, which I think many agree. Marvel panel, Hall H. Oh my goodness. They brought the actors out. They brought out, like, example, the Quantum Leap. Okay, I keep saying the wrong thing. The Quantum Leap. That's a good show, by the way. Quantum Leap.
Yeah. Yes.
Quantum Madness, Ant-Man 3. They brought out Paul Rudd, Lillian. They brought out everyone. Our Kang, who I think is the next Thanos, Jonathan Majors, a really excellent actor. They brought him out as Kang the Conqueror. So I can't wait for this movie to come out. And they also had the panel where they're bringing out different Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They had James Gunn come out, Chris Pratt came out, a bunch. They had the new Adam Warlock, who a lot of people were excited. Will Poulter is actually playing him, which when I first heard that, I was like, the guy from We Are the Millers, remember the comedy guy, the guy who kind of looks kind of goofy and strange, the skinny kid. And I was like, that guy. And then when I saw him, I didn't know that he apparently a year or two ago, he got buff, he got huge. And I was like, it doesn't even look like the same guy, Will Poulter. Like, it does not look like him. And
he's
then
transformed.
I was like, yeah. a lot of, the typical like Hollywood transformations, like Chris Pratt was like a chubby big guy, and then all of a sudden he just transformed, and now he's like a superstar. Same thing with Will Poulter. He was like a comedy guy, goofy guy, had like weird eyebrows, and all of a sudden you just get buff, and all of a sudden now it seems like he's in this major multi-million-dollar film, part of the cinematic universe, and
Yes.
I think he's going to be on the rise. There's so
Well,
much stuff that came out.
I would be very excited if I was his agent. I'll tell you that, because that puts you on the big screen in a big way, in front of the entire industry. And of course, people doing other movies looking for a good up and coming guy that they can afford to put in this, in their own films, will be looking at guys like this. This was the Comic-Con, the Hall H, which is the big huge extravaganza this year at Comic-Con, this Marvel unveiling. And I think that one of the surprises for me was that not only are we going to see one Avenger movie coming in 2025, we're going to see two. And it's interesting to watch Marvel. One of the things we're doing with the comic book company that I was telling you about is we're watching to see how Marvel did it and how we can do it better. And there are different phases of releases and stories and so forth that you're doing. This is what people in the industry consider the phase 6 version of the Marvel comic universe. So when you are talking about two big Avenger movies coming in 2025 to end phase 6, that's huge. And that's not even including all the other stuff like you just mentioned, this other movie, the Wakanda Forever stuff that's coming, and all the Russo brothers helm pictures, and Iron
There's
Man.
so many stuff. The quick rundown. Let me do a quick rundown of phase 5. So we have Secret Invasion, spring 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, May 5th, 2023, Loki season 2, summer 2023. You had Echo, you had Blade. I'm excited for that. November 3rd, 2023, Ironheart in the fall, Agatha, Captain America, New World Order, May 3rd, 2024, Daredevil, Born Again series, spring 2024. It's going to be on Disney Plus. It's going to be 18 episodes. And I'm excited about Daredevil, because of Catholicism. You have Thunderbolts, the movie, almost like think of Suicide Squad, Marvel style, July 26, 2024. And then obviously you have Wakanda Forever is going to be in phase 5. It's going to end in phase. Well, actually, no, that's ending phase 4. But just from the rundown, the one that sticks out to me, obviously Guardians, obviously all the other stuff, but Daredevil coming back. Charlie Cox is coming back, and it's going to be an 18 episode series. That's a lot of episodes, not these 6 episode series that Disney's been putting out. I'm like, 6 episodes, this is dumb. But I was like, finally 18 episodes. And again, because of Catholicism in Daredevil was prevalent. So did you watch Daredevil, or what did you think about that? Daredevil.
I did not watch Daredevil.
You gotta watch that.
It's funny, all my friends laugh at me, but I say,
the Catholic does. I was like, oh, the only Catholic guy one of the rare Catholic guys in Hollywood. Oh, he doesn't watch Daredevil.
Well, it's not that. I always say, I only make television. I don't watch it. I really don't have a lot of time. I'm very specific about the types of, and usually if I'm going to watch something, I got to watch something that Kira and I, my wife and I, will like together. So we'll watch stuff that is very specific, and we're not, when it comes to our couple, we're not really big into a lot of comic book stuff. Although we do like a lot of the Disney stuff. We do like, a lot of the series that are, The Mandalorian, and things that they're putting out that are good. But much to your happiness, I've heard that this is quite, first of all, that it was very anticipated. A lot of people were really kind of hoping that this would come out, and that I'm going to cheat and tell you that I did watch one episode of Daredevil, and I really, really liked the production value, and I liked the storytelling and so forth. So I'm going to go back and watch it. But this sequel, are we talking about the one that's called Daredevil Born Again?
Yes, which is based on a real storyline, but they kind of did an adaptation of Born Again in season 3. They kind of did that, but this is a famous cover where Matt Murdock comes in and there's Daredevil, and his building where he lives is completely collapsed, and then there's his uniform Daredevil there, and he knows like, oh, okay, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin did this. It's a very famous storyline in the comics, Born Again, but they kind of did kind of an adaptation, and Marvel doesn't do like a straight up adaptation, but I'm excited for this. But you know what I'm excited for too? Wakanda Forever.
Oh
Wakanda
yeah.
Forever, when they came out, the whole panel, I don't know if you saw it, they came out with the music, the score by the African band. They had an African band come out, and they were singing the score, almost like the Lion King-ish, you know, like where I don't know what they're saying, but it's almost like reminded me of Lion King. And from the original part one, they came out with the drums, and then Ryan Coogler came out. He brought out Lupita Luongo. He brought out all the, and then Namor. I know you'll like this. Well, not just you, but like Namor, who is in the comic, who is like the Marvel version of Aquaman.
Right.
The Namor the Submarine, and he's been highly anticipated too for a long time for a lot of comic book fans. But now, for the first time, Namor, and guess what? He is played by Tenoch Huerta.
If you want to say it in Spanish, Tenoch.
There you go. See, that's easier. That's easier.
Tenoch Huerta.
That's easier.
Mejia. He only goes by Tenoch Huerta, but his real name is Tenoch Huerta Mejia.
Yeah,
he's very well known in Latin America.
He came out in this
Spain.
movie. He came out in this little movie where I was like, why does he look familiar? I was like, he looks familiar, and I was like, where does he come out in? Because he looks so familiar. And when I looked up his IMDb, I was like, yeah, I first saw him on this movie called Sin Nobre. About like his train journey. He's like, it takes place on the train, and that's when I first saw him. Sin Nombre. It's a little independent film back in like 08 or something like that.
2009.
Okay, yeah.
It's all about the immigrants that come to Mexico on top of the train, which
that's where I first saw
go all across Latin America on top of this train. They don't have any money, so they jump on top of this train that's coming through Latin America, and it comes all the way up, brings them to Mexico, etc. But yeah, this is the guy. But let's look again at the business side of it, because this is something you can chew on. When I don't remember which award show I was at, but it was a couple of years ago, and it was an award show that recognizes the accomplishments of African Americans, and it was a Hollywood thing, right? So all of a sudden, they had this was before, like right before Black Panther was out on the screen, but there was a lot of anticipation, and people were talking about it like, hey, there's this film, and it's going to be an all African American cast, and so forth, and of course the actor Chadwick Boseman was there in the theater. I believe it was in Pasadena, at the Pasadena theater that they do America's Got Talent at. So you got this beautiful, huge, amazing, beautiful theater, right? And they're doing the award show there. And Chadwick Boseman was in the audience.
Oh, wow.
And he was a presenter that night. He wasn't a recipient. He wasn't even on, big known for Black Panther yet, but everybody knew that he was going to be Black Panther. And they were buzzing, man. There was a buzz in the air. There was movie stars, there was politicians, there was all kinds of important people there, again, people who were leading the charge in Hollywood, acknowledging their own craft as African Americans. I happened to be there. I was invited. I was there with a buddy who was an actor, and Chadwick Boseman, who I didn't really know at the time, I mean I knew him from other little films or whatever, comes on stage to present an award, and people were nuts. They just loved it. Like I will never forget that. And when I heard later that he was sick and that he actually had cancer at the time and was undergoing treatments, even as that was going on, I was blown away by that. I was also blown away by how humble and how nice he was. They've replaced him now with a Mexican actor, who is of Aztec origin, from what I understand. He's going to be playing the Black Panther now, right?
Wait, hold on. Unless this is inside scoop. I mean, this is huge because this is a mystery. Because there is people are dissecting Black Panther, and they're like, "Who's in the Black Panther suit? Is it a woman?" This is inside scoop then? Because nobody knows that. This is not public. Your NDA just got revoked now. You just
maybe.
No, it's good. We're gonna keep it.
Maybe.
This is exclusive. Nobody knows that. I'm being honest. Nobody knows. He's Namor, Tencho
Namor. No,
is
you're right. You're right. He is
oh, okay.
Namor. You're right. You're right.
Wait, you know what though? That's a good theory though. I never thought about that. Some people are like, they're like, oh, it's Killmonger. Who's in the Black Panther
Yeah,
suit?
it
So
is.
hey, maybe hey, you know what? I never thought
We'll
about that theory.
we'll
That
run
could be
we'll run
true.
with that, right?
Well,
But the point of the point of me
yeah,
saying and going on and on about all this, and again, we're talking about this is a theme that's coming
yeah.
by
That's why I
itself to
said
the
we're gonna
surface
talk
over
about
and
yeah.
over is inclusion.
Uh-huh.
You've now put a Latino actor in one of the biggest
Yeah.
African American franchises that's going to make a ton of money.
Not even
you know,
just overall one of the biggest franchise.
yeah,
It won Oscar.
yes,
Yeah.
period, right.
Period. There you go. Period.
But at the time when it was coming, when I was watching,
Yeah.
the presentations of at that award show and so forth, I was very present to the fact that Hollywood had made a film specifically to reach that community.
Yeah.
And then when we saw the actual film, it was like, dang, this is actually pretty
Oscar
good.
nominated.
This is a very amazing, well-made superhero film, right?
Yeah,
so now we have all that anticipation, and now you're bringing the Latino community in there too. And from a
which I did not expect that. I did not. When I saw the panel, I was like, wait, what? Because he's not the only one. There's another, I can't remember the woman's name, but there's multiple Hispanic characters coming out. And also too, I love Tencho in playing Rafa Quintero, the Carlo Quintero in the Narcos this season. I love that. And then I saw him also too in
he was very good.
The Forever Purge. That's what I was like. That's where I know him from Sin Nombre, the Forever Purge, and then Rafa Carlo Quintero in that excellent Narcos series. Loved him in that.
Yes, he was very believable in that. By the way, he played him so well, and they just caught him. By the way, last week, I think I don't know if you saw the headlines, but they caught him. He had escaped from a Mexican prison years ago.
Oh yeah.
And
they
so the character he plays, not Tenoch.
And I was about him. I was like, wait, what? He's already in jail. I was like,
he's already
just like a Hispanic actor. You get big, and you're already back in prison.
Yes,
you're already back in the prison. The pinta.
Already back.
He's already in the pinta.
But exactly. But then Tenoch Huerta is definitely a guy to keep an eye on. He's been a guy to keep an eye on, but now they're obviously starting to position him on a much bigger screen, much bigger scale. He's
going to be big.
And you're bringing. Now, you got to understand what's important about this is that you're bringing not only the African-American audience, right, that's going to support the film already. You're also not going to bring a huge percentage of Latinos.
I want to make a joke, but I'm going to refrain from making the joke about this.
I'm not even going to touch that.
Oh, but I want to say this too. The Aztec, the look of the actual trailer, like the music from Kendrick Lamar, everything's gonna be all right. It was so I got emotional. I'm not gonna lie. Like I got visibly emotional watching the trailer, the music. You see Chadwick Boseman, the mural reminiscence of Iron Man, and then you see Namor, who awesome. He looks awesome. He have that Aztec culture, and he comes down and his throne is the Megalodon. Like the trailer was so beautiful and emotional, and they did say they're gonna go more of like the like Atlanta's going to have a lot of Aztec or Mayan influences. So you saw that in the trailer. How beautiful was that trailer, and how emotional was that?
It was very well done. I love specifically the music that they used for it. I really, really liked it. I thought it was very well done. And it pulled at your heartstrings when you saw that image of Chadwick Boseman up on the mural,
Yeah.
So
definitely. And so the two Avengers movie, we'll end it on this as we start to wrap up. Wow. I mean, two Avenger movies, we're gonna have to wait a while, but within 6 months you have Avengers the Kang Dynasty, which is a comic book line, and also you have Avengers Secret Wars, which is a comic book. I'm very excited about Secret Wars because if you don't know the story, it's this guy called the Beyonder, and it's like super powerful guy, and he pretty much just gets bored. He's like, there's nothing else to do, just the most powerful being in the world. Like, I'm done watching Netflix. I know what I'm going to do. Let me get the Avengers. Let me get all the superhero and villains and transport them to a planet. Almost like the Robert Rodriguez movie Predators. Almost like, remember when Danny Trejo's in there and all? It's almost like that. Like he takes the superheroes and villains, Doctor Doom, all the Avengers, and he takes them in the planet. And then he almost like Hunger Games. Beyonders, like, now you have to battle it out. And so it's think of like Predators and Hunger Games.
Exactly.
So that's a huge, people have been waiting for that Secret Wars, and imagine that. And again, Does that mean Marvel's gonna like directly adapt Secret Wars, the comic book? No, they never do. Even Infinity War, Age of Ultron, they changed things. Civil War. So obviously Marvel's not going to do that, but I would recommend reading it. It might give you a hint. Remember, they're not going to do a direct adaptation, but it might give us a hint of where they're going. Oh my God, I just cannot believe it. I love the theme, the Alvin Selesky theme of the Avengers. Dun 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 dun. Like, I cannot wait. We've been waiting so long since an Endgame. How excited are you about that? Like, I'm so excited right now. I can't hold my containment. I just almost spit up my coffee I was drinking when I saw that. I just right all over the TV.
You're such a nerd.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was having a nerdgasm. Geekgasm.
Yes.
How was that for you? How excited are you for that? The 2 Avengers movies. Oh, don't tell me it's a downer. That was like,
no, it's not a downer. It's just that I look at things very differently, you know. I'm seeing, you're asking me how excited I am about a product that's coming off the end of an assembly line, you know, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
fair enough.
So
you're the guy who makes the sausage. That's why, because you know how the sausage is made. You know how the chorizo. You know how the chorizo is made. So you're like, But again, all these other Geekdom fans, like, we're excited. I know you're still excited, but again, I understand. You know how the chorizo is made, so you're kind of like, we'll see.
It's a different thing. Yeah, it's a different kind of appreciation for the chorizo. You know,
Kevin Feige is a genius. I love Kevin Feige. I mean, there's Bob Iger, former head of Disney, who's really good. Kevin Feige's really good. There's that guy, the one who they bought Warner Brothers Discovery Plus. I can't. Was it Zaslav? No, or is that Marvel guy? Well, anyway, I heard they're really good executives. The guy who runs Discovery, now Warner Brothers, he's really good. I heard Papa Iger and Kevin Feige. Those are the top guys. So I'm excited to see what they do. Wow, what a great episode. This is geek. If you've been wanting geek episodes, we've been having some great emotional faith and reason stuff. Now here's a Geekdom just right in your face, like a pie to your face. See if you can handle this much Geekdom. 2022 Comic-Con San Diego. Wow, Faith, Reason, and Geekdom. Thank you guys. Please subscribe. Please share. Please follow us on Twitter. Give it to your friend. Anyone who would like this, Faith, give it to them. They like Geekdom movies, give it to them. They like Reason, give it to them. Please share us. Do whatever you can. If you want to email us, you can do that too. Find us on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple. This has been Faith and Reason and Geekdom. Again, I am Roger.
And I'm Dusty.
Godspeed and God bless. Thank you.